Is it? The Albanians.
Today's film is a thriller suspense from 2024 titled Wolves. The film begins with a woman named Margaret freaking out in a suite. Margaret is a district attorney in New York City, and she slept with a young man in the suite, but the boy died in an accident. Margaret contacts a mysterious number that she got from a close friend. The contact Margaret calls is a professional fixer who doesn't have a name. He heads to Margaret's hotel suite and takes a trolley with him. The fixer inquires if someone saw Margaret, but she's certain that she was unseen, so she requests him to help him cover this mess up. The fixer guarantees her that he's the finest at his job, so she should return home to her daughter. The fixer looks for a pulse on the kid, but finds none. All of a sudden, someone knocks on Margaret's door, and another mysterious man walks in. Turns out he's also a professional fixer like the man Margaret called, and he too is here to help Margaret. Margaret's fixer questions who contacted him, so he points towards a secret camera. All of a sudden, the room phone rings, and it's for Margaret. Margaret gets contacted by a shadowy woman who's keeping tabs on the hotel rooms. Margaret makes a deal with the woman and puts her on speaker. The woman reveals her name is Pamela, and she owns this hotel. Pam mentions she's responsible for contacting the second fixer because she's keen on protecting her hotel's reputation. Since both fixers have now seen each other, Pam comes up with the solution, which is for both the fixers to work together to help Margaret. The fixers refuse to pair up, so Margaret convinces her fixer to stay because she was told that when this fixer takes the job, he gives his word, which is the measure of a man.
He said if you take the job, you give your word, and that word's the measure of a man.
The fixers finally give up and decide to work together since they have both been caught on camera. The fixers now inquire about the details from Margaret, who reveals she met the kid downstairs in the hotel bar and wanted to hook up with him. The kid had a few drinks and began hopping on the bed, which caused him to crash on the bar cart and end up dying. Both men send Margaret back to her home and begin cleaning the suite. Margaret's man does all the heavy lifting but notices Pam's man is just relaxing. While Margaret's man cleans the mess, Pam's man finds the kid's bag. They open the bag and find drugs in it. The fixers call Pam for assistance, but she orders them to drop the drugs to the buyer so nothing gets traced back to her hotel. Margaret's man tapes the kid and places him on the trolley, passing it off as dirty laundry. The fixers take an elevator to the parking lot where Pam's man gets rid of the security feed to divert the security guard. Margaret's man now drives his car into the parking lot and smoothly places the corpse in the trunk. Margaret's man now wants to delete the sweet footage of him, but Pam's man stops him, mentioning he was precisely tasked to delete the footage alone. Suddenly, the kid awakens. The fixers figure out the kid was on drugs, so Pam's man knocks him out. They both start blaming each other for not checking the kid's pulse, but then they realize the kid can help them deliver the drugs. They decide to get him cleaned, so Margaret's man contacts his medic man but gets no answer. Pam's man decides to take the kid to his medic guy in Chinatown. On the road, Margaret's man wonders if this kid is working for the person responsible for stealing a freshly imported shipment from the Albanian gangsters. They arrive in Chinatown, and the medic man is a lady named June. Turns out June is also Margaret's man's medic man. Pam's man argues with June for working with Margaret's man, but she doesn't care. June is only worried for the kid because he has overdosed. The fixers bring the kid in from the back, so June checks him out. She finds out the kid's pulse is impossible to detect, probably due to doing combinations of pure narcotics. The fixers start bickering again, so June tells them to get out. They both wait in the lounge and drink together. Pam's man discloses that June rescued him and let him heat at her house. Both men recall the timeline and realize they were at June's place together and could have met back then, but June prevented it. Meanwhile, the kid runs away again. The fixers run after him, but they're not exactly in shape now.
Go right at them.
The kid enters a mall while being chased by Pam's foot. On the other hand, Margaret's man drives to the exit of the mall. The kid exits the mall and runs into Pam's man. He gets hit by the car, but manages to land on his feet. The kid flees again, but after a long chase, he eventually gets caught. The fixers take him and return to June's house. June doesn't allow them inside and throws them the medication for the kid. Afterward, both fixers try to figure out where they can interrogate the kid. Both fixers have their secret places and want them to remain that way, so they take him to a motel. Both men try to cooperate so they can get answers out of the kid. Margaret's man starts the interrogation, but the kid pretends he doesn't know anything. Pam's man tells the kid they know about his drugs, so Margaret's man steps outside with him so they can strategize their questioning methods. Both men again can't decide on anything, so they scare the kid with violence, which easily works. The kid discloses that he's working for one of the most notorious drug dealers, named Lagrange. The kid reveals he's dropping the drugs for his friend Diego as a favor because his mother passed away yesterday and that he isn't a dealer himself. The kid mentions secretly testing Diego's drugs, and it made him feel alive. He went to a bar where he met Margaret and eventually ended up crashing in the suite somehow. The kid mentions he was supposed to pick up a pager from Diego's bar where he bartends because the delivery location of the drugs is on the pager. The fixers head to the bar, and during the ride, the kid assumes both fixers are a pair. Upon reaching the bar, the fixers discover the Croatian gangster Dimitri is at the bar. The fixers share information about their past gigs with Dimitri, figuring out they both worked for Dimitri, and if he sees them collaborating, he'll get them offed, believing they were plotting against him. All three of them sneak into the bar from behind and find out Dimitri is attending his daughter's wedding party. Meanwhile, the kid approaches the bar and finds the pager. None of the barkeepers hear him, so he decides to take it himself but gets caught by security. The fixers intervene to save the kid, but get pulled into the cultural kolo dance of Croatians. While dancing, the fixers try to remain unnoticed, but Dimitri locks his eyes on them. Suddenly, the fixers draw their guns at each other like strangers to ensure Dimitri doesn't suspect them working together. Dimitri jumps in and separates them. He berates them for ambushing his daughter's wedding party. The fixers express dislike for each other, but Dimitri points out how similar they both are. He believes their fake act and allows them to leave. But one of Dimitri's men notices both fixers own similar guns and thinks they're partners. The fixers head out and notice the kid waiting for them in the car with his pager. The kid doesn't receive the drop location so far, so they stop at a diner. During eating, the kid realizes both men are expert fixers and have quite the similarities. The kid hits the washroom. Meanwhile, the fixers try to decode how Lagrange managed to steal drugs from the Albanians. Margaret's man believes they might be stepping into a setup where they'll get killed after dropping the package to Lagrange. The fixers decide to let the kid do his job the way he was supposed to originally, and they'll take care of him afterward. The pager finally receives the location, and they head off. Upon arriving, the fixers send the kid off to deliver the drugs, despite the kid finding it suspicious but not bothering. As the kid enters the house, they notice a group of thugs arriving with firearms. The fixers wonder if it might be the Albanians coming to kill Lagrange's men, but suddenly, they get jumped by Dimitri's men. The Croatians open fire on the fixers as they try to drive away from the place. Their car shuts off due to heavy fire.
Is that the Albanians?
So they move back to their car. They take out firearms from the trunk and fire back as the Croatians run out of bullets and get shot. Both men rush to Lagrange's building as they hear loud gunshots. The fixers see two injured thugs trying to escape the warehouse, but they die. The fixers notice an active tracker in one of the Albanians' vehicles and enter the warehouse where no one is alive, only corpses everywhere. They search for the kid who miraculously survived by hiding in a limo trunk. The fixers now realize they have to kill the kid, so they instruct him to put the drugs around the warehouse so he doesn't get involved any further. As the kid places the drugs, Margaret's man aims his gun at the kid but chickens out, but Pam's man fires his gun. Surprisingly, he also doesn't kill the kid but shoots the drug package, which turns out has a tracker inside it all this time, and that's how the Albanians tracked them here. Both professionals decide to let the kid live, so they all take the subway to head to the kid's house. There, they tell the kid to forget about them. Otherwise, they'll shoot him and his dad. Both of them meet with the kid's father, who is obsessed with Frank Sinatra. The father is curious as to why these men are here, and we cut to the fixers leaving the house while we see a petrified look on the father's face, because they probably threatened him with his life. The fixers head to a diner for breakfast, where they wonder who could have been behind all this mess, and if Lagrange even stole drugs in the first place or not. Before heading out, Margaret's man questions Pam's man how Pam persuaded him to comply. Pam's man mentions she reminded him of the motto he learned. You take a job, you give your word, and the word is the measure of a man. Which is the same motto that Margaret's man follows. They both now realize they have been working for the same person who's a close associate of Pam and Margaret. That associate is the man behind the curtain who purposefully set these two up so they'd get killed by the Albanians, since they both now know quite a bit regarding their employer. Both men reload their weapons as they figure out there will be men ready to take them out. They make a pact to share names if they manage to live. The post-credits scene reveals how the kid met Margaret and ended up crashing on the cart in the hotel suite. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome recaps.